Hi there! I wanted to take this opportunity while I'm waiting in my car in the parking lot of Red Lobster here in lovely San Jose, waiting to pick up my lunch order. Well, lunch for my entire family. We've all been craving Red Lobster, and there's not one where we live, so we're really looking forward to this. Oh, those Cheddar Bay biscuits are going to be lovely! Wanted to do a quick review of the movie The Good Liar, which is another movie that I've seen streaming since the quarantine began, since the cinemas shut down, and it's another movie that was at the theater when the quarantine began. I did a review of The Invisible Man yesterday, so I wanted to talk a little bit about The Good Liar, starring Helen Mirren and Ian McKellen and Jim Carter. Helen Mirren, first of all, let me say, is one of my favorite actresses. She's an icon, a legend, a goddess. I love her. I love her in absolutely everything she's ever done. First discovered her in the British crime drama Prime Suspect, which ran throughout the 90s and maybe early 2000s, or maybe just the 90s. Very good series, still available via streaming, so check that out if you can. But she's a phenomenal actress, so I knew that this would be a good movie. It's the story of Roy Courtney, who's the Ian McKellen character, and he is a con man, a swindler, long-time con man and swindler, right? Because he's like, I don't know, 75 or 80, but that is how he's lived his life and made his living since forever. And Jim Carter, those of you who are Downton Abbey fans, Jim Carter played Carson, the main butler or valet in Downton Abbey, and I love him because he's very British and very prim and proper. And even though he plays Roy Courtney's partner in crime, Vincent, in The Good Liar, he's still very prim and proper and very Carson to me, and he's just awesome as well. So it's the story of Roy Courtney setting his sights on this wealthy widow, who he thinks is a wealthy widow, named Betty McLeish, and trying to swindle her out of her life savings. So very cat and mouse, very back and forth, never a dull moment, very much a caper or a dark comedy, if you will. And it kept me on the edge of my seat, definitely kept me interested, kept me entertained. Again, I don't know if I mentioned this, the acting is superb. I was definitely drawn into the story, forgot the actors, and was drawn to the characters. The only sort of weird thing for me is that I felt like throughout 85 or 90% of the movie, the main character, Roy Courtney, this con man, the scammer, was very lovable and likable, even though he was villainous. And I felt towards the end of the movie, when we learned more about him, he was very dark and just more evil. No spoiler alerts here on Real Talk with Daphne, but that was a little abrupt for me and sort of a big change. I watched the movie with my wife, Ryan, and she thinks that there were clues along the way, so it wasn't as abrupt a change for her. But for me, it was this character that I had sort of liked all along the way, and then to learn things about him that makes you definitely not like him. But overall, it worked overall, and the ending in itself was good, because as you know, whenever you're talking about a psychological drama or any sort of thriller or mystery movie, the ending can make or break the movie. The ending was perfectly fine here, and I think I'm going to give out another perfect score, 5 stars for The Good Liar, streaming now on, I believe we watched it on Amazon Prime, so check it out if you can. Well, you can because you're probably at home, so definitely check it out. It's well worth your time, and will give you 2 hours of something besides, I don't know, eating too much ice cream and sitting in your pajamas. At least it can give you something to be engaged in. Hashtag Cinephile, hashtag Real Talk with Daphne. See you guys next time. Stay safe, stay healthy.